Okay, guys, so in this video, I'm going to talk about how to close on the phone. Now, I want to point one thing out. I'm no Robert Belfour, okay? I'm no Dan Luck. I'm no closing master. The thing is, I think a lot of things when it comes to closing on the phone are wrong. And I'm going to give you my best advice right here. And on my phone calls, of course, my targeting is really good with my ads. The offers are really, really good. I always make sure if I'm going to be closing the phone, the offer has to be really, really good. I cannot close a bad offer on the phone. For example, HCOM, super difficult to close on the phone. It's not a bad offer, but it's to the wrong demographic, and you're convincing someone who has maybe $3,000 in their bank account to give you $2,000 of that, or maybe even less than that. Like a person who has like 1,000. Like it is just a hard situation to sell in. And again, you're not really selling something that's specifically tied to a result. The results they're going to get are very hypothetical. And that's a hard sale. And that's when you're going to need some real closing skills. And I really don't like closing in those type of situations. Now, the key, again, with my calls is that I have an extremely good product. Everything we talked about beforehand that goes into the business structure and our products and how we design them, that plays so much with closing on the phone. That's almost everything. If you have a great product that a person really needs and you can really tie it into their pains and their knee-jerk gains, which we're going to talk about here in a second, it's very easy to sell. And so that's why when I close on the phone, I close at 80 to 90%. With iron calls, for example, I would say I probably close around 70%. 70 to 80% is what I close. Now, of course, I'm not getting on calls with people that are not qualified, so we could maybe drop that down to 60%. At Hyros, I have a 90% easy close rate, even with people that calls I don't hop on. That's because the product is so well aligned with what the person wants. And so you're going to see that when I release a few recordings of my sales calls. You're going to see that my selling fundamentally, if we're going off of a sales course, isn't that great. But understanding what the person needs and then selling them what they want, I'm very, very good at that. And so I want to share with you kind of how I close people on the phone and the advantages I have. And also with the SC funnel, you need to be the person closing on the phone. You can't really hire a salesperson to go and do this for you when you first make a product, because you understand the product, you understand the customer, and if you hire someone who doesn't understand the customer and doesn't understand the product and doesn't understand it as well as you do, there's no way you're going to be able to come up with a successful script. Then I'll break down the script and how it works here in a second, but you don't really need a script. See, the first thing you need to do, guaranteed in this section right here, is you need to go read Spin Selling. It's really the only sales book you ever need to read. I think I do significant numbers, and I've read a lot of sales books, but it's mostly just from this. What Spin Selling really goes into is it's people that are using traditional closes and traditional scripts and traditional sales tactics actually aren't that effective because they're not really selling to a customer. They're going through a script. And so what I see in the industry right now is people try to use scripts and then intimidate people into buying. I think you guys are going to ask me about it all the time, so I'll just address it right here. You guys are going to ask, what's the difference between this and Sam Oven's script and stuff like that. I think Sam's a genius. He's a friend of mine. I have nothing but respect for him. I've never had much success with that script. Okay, and I'm not saying the script doesn't work. It's worked for a lot of people. All right, I'm not saying that'd be blasphemy. I'm saying I don't like pitching that script, and I don't like scripts that are similar to it because it relies a lot on silence and convincing people and persuading people of things that into positions they might not have necessarily been in the first place. And is that good selling? Yeah, sure it is, but I don't find it effective. I don't close nearly as high when I pitch like that. Now that might just be a pitching style, but the thing is, if we look at the industry, people try to intimidate or trick or use a pattern of words or use all sorts of ploys to convince people to buy stuff they don't want to buy. When the solution isn't any of that. That's not how you get people to buy on the phone, at least from my point of view. The solution is this. You have to understand these things. People buy two things. People spend a lot of money up front on two things. That's to avoid massive, obvious, easily avoidable pain. Massive, easily avoidable pain. Okay, I'm not going to write that all out. And press button gains. This is what people buy. And if you're not selling this, you're going to have a hard time. Because people want everything to be like a refrigerator. They just want it to work. And if you can... because people want everything to be like a refrigerator. They just need it to work. And when you're selling to somebody on the phone, the solution is finding out where you can easily help them avoid pain and give them a press button win. That's it. And then you move to the close. And you need to make them realize that they have pains and they have problems. And so on a call, the most important thing is the call has 3 phases. The first thing we need to do is we need to diagnose what their problem is. And our job on the phone call is to identify these areas for the person. We need to show them massive pain. We need to find out exactly where we can cause massive pain and then give them a press button way out of it or a press button way to avoid it. That's it. That's all I do on my phone calls. You're going to see on my phone calls, the entire strategy is ask them questions and find out where they actually have problems. And also make them realize they do have a problem. Okay, I don't hop on calls with people that don't have a problem. I know where their problems are going to be. If I'm hopping on an iron call, I know people's problem is usually going to be their funnel, their copywriting, and that they don't know what the hell they're doing with ads. They might be doing $50,000 a month. I know they're not going to get to $100,000 a month to operate this way. I know they have a problem. When it's Hyros, I know they have a problem. If they think they're seeing their sales and they're tracking with Facebook ads, they're not. So, and also a huge part of closing on the phone is convincing people that they have a problem. Which they do if you're selling them something. They're going to see it. They're going to see it once you do it. And then attaching that to a tangible, painful outcome. Okay, so the first phase of any call is there's going to be a diagnosis phase. There's going to be other questions and stuff like that. But the first phase of the call, there's 3 phases, is convincing the person that they have a problem or finding the problem or finding out what the problem is and then attaching it to tangible outcomes. Okay, hey, so look, you don't have an optimized funnel. What do you think is going to happen if you go run this with ads? I don't know. Well, I mean, the ads are probably going to lose money. You're probably going to lose $5,000, $10,000 doing that. Tangible outcome. Okay, so you can't see which ads you have that you're able to scale. This is for the high-risk pitch. You can't see your winning ads. You probably look at my ad account right here. Man, I mean, if I'm turning off scaling ads, that's giving me a $1,000 to $2,000 per day demotion. I'm making $60,000 a month less if I'm turning this off. Do you see that? Yeah. Do you think that's going on in your business? Well, I don't know. Well, you're not tracking stuff. How do you know which ones are just ones to scale? I don't know. Well, then you obviously are probably going to have this problem. Yeah, I kind of see that now. How much do you think that's losing every single month? Man, at least $10,000, $15,000. Tangible. What we do during the call is we go and we actually find out the real problems in their business. And if we have a sales call and we're getting people on, we're usually going to know where those are. All right, we don't hop on calls with a mystery person on the phone. Okay, that's not how the targeting or the script or anything works. Okay, it's meant to attract a certain type of person, and we should know where the pains are going to be. And then we draw those pains out and we create a tangible bad result they're going to get. I like to do this in 3s. I like to find 3 places they're really going to eat shit at and bring those out. Okay? And then what we do is we transition in the call to going and saying, look, how do you expect to get to where you want to go with these things right here? All right? You're going to lose so much money. We've already agreed that you're probably losing $30,000 a month right now, or you're going to lose $10,000, or you're just so much money being left on the table right here. Okay? Or we find very, very, very instant wins. All right, so cool. Look, with your funnel right now, you're using the same copywriting script that everybody else is running right now. That's probably killing your conversions. If you just got a good script on there, I mean, how much more money would you make if your webinar just went from 3% to 4.5% conversions, a 50% increase? So much. Well, dude, just change the script. Just change the script. I mean, it's not going to work with this current script. But you find those instant gains. Or for example, if we just saw the winners right there, you know, that could be an extra $10,000, $20,000 a month. Does that make sense? And so we also want to go and attach it to tangible, easy gains. So we want to make it very clear that there's going to be an actual consequence to still behaving like this, or they're just leaving a $100 bill on the table and like just pick it up. That's how we want to make them feel. Those are the two things we want to go after: either an instant gain or a very tangible consequence. So then what we do on the second phase of the call is we show them the solutions and how easy the solutions would be to apply if they just had our weapon or our system or what we were doing. So dude, look, your copywriting's out of whack. What if you just had my copywriting script? Do you see how much more money you'd make? Yeah. Okay, cool. All right, so your ads, you're going to lose $10,000, $15,000 up front, but the gains could be huge. I mean, honestly, if you just had it right on day one, do you see how much more money you would make and you just get past all that initial BS? Do you see how you wouldn't have to lose $10,000 and you could just get straight into gain mode? Yes. Okay, if you could just see your winners and losers with Hyros, you know, like I'm showing you right now in this demo, do you see how much more money you'd save instantly? Yes. That's why Hyros is such an easy sell and I close so high. I go through the same things on every single pitch. I go through how they're turning off their winners and just losing money for no reason. I then go and show them how much money they're losing on waste in their account, 10 to 20%, show them that. And then I show them how if they just turn on AI pixel training or offline conversion optimization, they make another 10 to 20%. I show them and they get in massive pain, and I show them an easy way out of the pain. That's exactly how the product's designed, by the way. It's that way on purpose. The whole trick to phone calls is making sure you have a product that works very well on phone calls. Then you close. You offer the push button solution to these tangible consequences. You show them exactly how easy the gains would be, and then you just offer the chance to give them whatever is going to make these gains easy and press button for them. For Iron, dude, you'll just get your YouTube ads the first time. We just plug in my funnel, we plug in my script, and we plug in my YouTube ads. You're good to go. I mean, Iron costs less than going and attempting to do YouTube ads on your own. You're going to lose like $10,000, and you don't even know if the funnel is going to work, and it will probably make 50% less than it already would. So why don't you come on side of Iron? Easiest close ever. Hyros, 10 times easier close. Look, you are losing $5,000 to $10,000 a month right here, guaranteed. You can't scale your ads. You're turning off your losers, so you keep giving yourself a demotion every single month. And if you just put in the AI optimization I talked about, I mean, you'd make 10x what the software is costing you monthly just from like a 10% increase in your ads. So why don't you come on board? No one ever says no. And that's how I can sell it. I'm going to say, okay, cool. Well, to fix these problems, it's going to be $5,000 for 6 months up front. And of course, what I'll do is I'll make sure I'll throw in a 30-day guarantee in Hyros because people get results. I mean, people get results every single time. That's why I love high-ticket SaaS closing. But you're going to see right here, as we go through the pitch, I want to back up through this strategy right here. It's badly drawn on the board. We don't let people go. We don't move people through a pitch. We don't just go from like step one, step two. This is why you have such an advantage as a CEO when you're selling, even if your sales skills are lacking, even if you're nervous on the phone, even if your talking skills aren't great, because you understand the product and you can understand exactly how your product can actually help the person. So when I'm doing an Iron close and a person isn't perfectly matched the bill, or this first part isn't going too well, I just talk until we agree on places where they're losing at. And then we talk until we agree on places where they're going to run into an obstacle. And I'll just talk to the person. I'm not using a script. And then once I understand, where they have real tangible consequences in their life, I show them exactly how I can fix those consequences and then offer them a press button solution to it. That's how spin selling works. That's how selling should work. It's like if you went into a doctor's office and he just went through a script, said, okay, so, you're feeling this way, you're feeling this way. And then just like silent treatments you and then offers you a solution. And you're like, yeah, I would love to not feel this way. And he's like, okay, just take this thing. It's not going to work. Because the person doesn't understand your problems. And really good selling comes when the person that you're talking to feels you actually understand their problems, because you do. You do. You cannot sell. This is why it's so hard to hire salespeople on a sales call system, because a lot of times they don't understand the person's problems, especially if you're doing SaaS or B2B. It's really hard because the salesperson has to understand the B2B business that they're talking to. If they don't understand the business they're talking to, no one's going to give them money. It's going to have a really low close rate. It's going to be hard to make gargantuan heaps of money from it. And so what you need to try, what you always must accomplish is you want to follow this pattern, but the most important thing is you understand and agree with the person the entire way through. So for at Hyros, for example, when I'm going through the pitch with them, what I'm going to do is I'm going to find the problem and say, man, what's your biggest problem? I can't scale. I can't do this. Okay, well, let's dive into scaling. And then I really bring out the pain around the scaling. And then we agree on the numbers that they're losing. I don't ever put things in a person's mouth. I'm not doing crazy sales tactics. But the most important thing is we start the call and we never let them move to the next step until we have these tangible consequences. And then we'll go to the next step after we've agreed on the tangible, easy wins. And then we just sell them the easy wins. But this isn't some trick or anything like that, because we have a product that can deliver the easy wins and we've actually uncovered their true problems. And so when most people sell, they just go through it. They don't actually go and diagnose the problem. So you need to be like a very expert level doctor on their problems. A person walks in, and if you're a person that sells courses, I'm an expert on where your problems probably are. So I'm going to poke around until I find one of the problems that I know happen in people's courses and funnels. That's really hard to do if you're an untrained salesperson, but really easy to do if you're the CEO. At Hyros, I am an expert at tracking. Nobody knows tracking as well as I do. There's like 1 or 2 people that know tracking as well as I do. And so when a person comes in, I'm gonna go in their business. I'm gonna tear it to shreds because I know what's happening, and I'm not doing it to be mean. I'm doing it to bring out the tangible consequences the person's already dealing with. Like, hey, look, you are turning off wasters right now. Are you comfortable spending an extra $200,000 this year on wasted ad spend? No. Well, yeah, of course, because that's fucking stupid. Like, there's sometimes I'll talk like that because the people need to be talked to like you're the doctor, you're the authority, and that's super important. And so I wanted to talk about this before we get into this. Is how you close on a call. And this is why when you get started into this, if you're the CEO or you're the product owner or product creator, you have a huge advantage over a salesperson who has 10 years of sales training behind them. Okay, and as long as you follow the fundamentals of my pitch, you're going to do very well because you're going to bring out the main reason people actually buy. People buy to easily avoid giant pain, or they buy to get instant money on the table. Like there's $1,000 on the table, just pick it up gains. That's where they buy. And if you can find those areas where those opportunities are for them and then sell them those opportunities, you're going to win. If you try to sell someone something vague or something that's not completely optimized for them, or they don't feel like they're understood, or they're talking to the expert of experts, not going to work. But you always are that expert of experts if you're making the product. You should be on the customer. And so I'm going to go over the script in the next video, but you're going to see this is the far more important part. Find the pains, find the tangible consequences going on in the person's life and bring them to the surface and make them tangible by assigning a dollar amount or an actual outcome that is happening or going to happen. Or find money on the table, pick up $1,000 bill, easy gains. Okay, dude, if you just could see your winning ads right now, and you just turn those up, you could make like an extra $2,000 a day right now. Is that fair to say? Can we agree on that number? Okay. All right, so let's move on to the next thing. That's how it will work. And you're going to see what I want you to do is inside the program, if you jump down, you have the actual training that I give my sales team at Hyros and at Iron. And you're going to see me break down the pitch and explain exactly how I use those pitches. I'm going to go through the actual script in the next video, but then I want to show you in those videos how I use those pitches and how I convert the script to those pitches and how to fundamentally pull off those pitches. You're going to have a very good understanding of how it works at that point. And I'm going to tell you this is easy. If you've never sold on the phone before, this is easy. It's when you start going and using other types of scripts or trying sales methods that don't have to do around what a person wants, that's when it gets hard. That's when it gets hard. Or when you have a really bad product, that's when it gets hard. Okay, so we're going to talk about the script in the next video.